Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rakan, product designer working in London. In this video, we're going to explain the latest version of auto layout in less than 5 minutes and explain the fundamentals and basics. So if you're new here, be sure to subscribe for future design related videos, and let's get started in Figma. But let's recreate this card component. So first thing we do, select all of our layers and then we press Shift A for auto layout. And how do we get the icon here to be left aligned? Always look on the right hand panel here to adjust all your auto layout settings. So we want this to be top left aligned. And one new thing they introduced in auto layout is these purple little handles. So when you zoom in, you can see that these little handles pop up. So you can adjust the padding in between, or you can adjust the padding at the top and bottom as well. So it's a really quick way of adjusting your padding and items. But the best way is to really just look on the right hand panel to adjust this. So they've got things now like negative spacing as well, which in this instance it probably wouldn't work, but with things like face piles it's very good. So let's quickly add our fill here. So we'll add the fill to get the same color as the card at the top, and then what we do here is add a border. And we can see that all the text here is left aligned, but there's no padding. So we could either use a handle here, but because we want this on the left and right, it's just quicker to go here and press 24. And this adjusts on the horizontal padding on both sides, 24 on left and the right. But now they've made it that you can actually individually control the left and right really simply. So you could have 40 on the left, and maybe you could have 64 on the right, and there you can see it adjusts the padding individually. And we can do the same for the top and bottom, but let's just put this as 24. And then we can add our border radius here to 8. But that is a card component simply redesigned, and we can now demoed the new auto layout changes with the handles here as well. So let's look at absolute positioning now next. The next thing to look at is absolute positioning, and the best way to really look at this is things like these status or profile icons. We can see they're actually off center, and it's intentional in the design that you want this there, but with auto layout it doesn't really allow you to do this. If I just press Shift A, and maybe I will try and add some like negative space in here, but it only stops at a certain point. And the reason being is that we want to use things like absolute positioning to change where this really fits inside the auto layout frame. So if we simply do the same thing here, press Shift A, and we want this little status icon maybe to be right in the middle where his t-shirt is. So all we have to do is go to the top right here, absolute positioning, a nice little feature, and you can drag it anywhere you want inside, and we can press Option and adjust where we want this. Do we want this 8 pixels down, 8 pixels on the right, or maybe we want this further across like so. So wherever you want this, absolute position allows you to freely move this around. Previously this was basically really difficult to do with auto layout, but it's a simple way to do this. So that's absolute positioning. So the last thing we're going to do, which is really simple, is just assemble this footer together. It's a bit like Lego. We've got our components here. Let's just put them together. We're using a bit of horizontal and vertical auto layouts components. So we've got our title and body text. We'll press Shift A on these, and it's automatically adjusts this to vertical. And we want to put the email component. That should be horizontal here, so that's looking good. Maybe we'll increase the spacing a bit there to 20. We want to put these two components together, so I'll press Shift A, and we want to make sure here that the left alignment is in the middle as well. And then let's set this to fill the container. And the reason this is going all the way to the end is because we've got 398 space in here. So we set it to 0, and we can see this component is going to the end, but the text isn't. So on the right, we can set this to fill, and we can set the container to fill as well, which will allow us to type text all the way to the end. So we'll duplicate this, and you can see that. So that is looking good, this first component here. And the next thing we want to do is maybe add these lines and spaces in between here as well. So we'll just press Shift A on this, and we'll put this left aligned here. And the spacing in between is a bit big, so we want to make this 24. maybe we want to actually increase that a tiny bit to like 40, and then we can do the same for the component below as well. So we can just duplicate this and then move this all the way down to the bottom using Command and then the open bracket key. So that is the main component sorted. The last thing we want to do is add this copyright stuff. So we just press Shift A here and get the social network icons together, and then we can actually probably add these either at the bottom here, and they're looking cool by themselves, and then we'll set this to fill container. But we want to set these to be right aligned, so we can make sure that these sit on the right. So if we just press this to fill container, that automatically pushes this to the right. And let's make sure these lines are set to fill container as well. And what we have to do is now select this to black, the fill, and there's our footer. So the last thing we have to do is just adjust the spacing. So if you remember from the previous stuff, we'll just add 24. Let's add like 40 to the top, and then we'll add like 40 to the sides. And that is, maybe we want to individually add a tiny bit more to the bottom. So we'll add this to like 64. And that is our footer recreated really simply. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Hopefully you learned something new about using auto layout in Figma and the latest changes. Be sure to comment down below how you're getting on using auto layout, and if you use it in your day-to-day workflow. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for future design related videos, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.